Hundreds of criminals could have avoided jail time under a proposal from the Justice and Corrections Departments.
The idea was to prioritise home detention over incarceration and address the overpopulation of Māori in prison. But as political reporter Lloyd Burr explains, it didn't work out like that.
Tommy Doran's come a long way from his teenage years committing petty crime to fund his meth addiction.
As it does for a lot of people who, meth gets their hooks into. It led me to, my incarceration.
He's done his jail time and he's now doing an honours degree in criminology. He says home detention isn't a silver bullet.
I don't think the solution lies in just like taking them out of prison and sticking them in their home where they probably did a lot of their using and offending.
But that's a solution this document, released under the Official Information Act, recommended to the government. It was to the Minister of Justice, proposing an increase in the use of home detention to safely reduce the prison population. Judges would prioritise home detention when a short prison sentence, anything under 2 years, would usually be imposed. While it would reduce the prison population by around 600 beds after 3 years and save $7 million annually, it would actually skew Māori prison stats. It says Māori face greater barriers to accessing housing for their home detention and would likely increase Māori overrepresentation in prison because more non-Māori could receive home detention than Māori.
It's often harder for many Māori. They get discriminated against by not having appropriate housing and the like. So that's really why that was a part of the considerations.
The policy was on its way to Cabinet to be considered, but when Kitty Allen took over the Justice portfolio, she threw it on the policy bonfire. Today, throwing her predecessors under the bus.
This is a proposal that was carried through from previous ministers. It started under Andrew Little and I inherited it after Chris Farfoy.
National's Justice spokesperson Paul Goldsmith says it's astounding the proposal was even considered.
They have a misguided approach to justice where their only priority is to reduce the prison population, irrespective of what's going on in our community.
Prison population is always something that we keep an eye on.
For Tommy, there's far bigger things to focus on than just tinkering with home detention eligibility.
More funding needs to be put into safe and safe, clean and sober housing, AOD programs, anti-violence programs.
His list goes on, and from someone who's been in the system and is studying the system, maybe it's time politicians listen to those like him. Lloyd Burr, Newshub.